welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this new episode of Earth Matters. My name is Natalia, and I am very pleased to be today with two very special people, which I will introduce in a moment. In today's episode, we will discuss the psychological toll of conflict and displacement, focusing on the situation in Myanmar. The Rohingya crisis, which began in 2017, has resulted in widespread violence and persecution against the Rohingya people, forcing many to flee their homes and to seek refuge in camps in Bangladesh. These have led to a profound humanitarian crisis marked by severe trauma and displacement. So today, we are honored to be joined by two remarkable guests, Diana Sen Kwan. She is a counselor, educator, and peace builder. She specializes in trauma healing and peace building interventions rooted in indigenous practices, including those from her own Jinko culture, Myanmar. Welcome, Diana. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we are also privileged to have Maung. You can help me to pronounce your name correctly, please. It's Maung La Min. Is that right?
La Min. Maung La Min.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maung. So Maung is a Rohingya refugee and dedicated human rights activist. He was forced to flee Myanmar in 2017, and he resides, as we speak, in a refugee camp in Bangladesh, where he founded the Rohingya Aid and Empowerment Network. Maung has been a leading voice for the Rohingya community, advocating for their rights and working to improve their conditions through the Rohingya Aid and Empowerment Network. Welcome, and thank you so much, Maung, for being here with us. I had actually to say that we were supposed to start a few minutes ago, but part of the whole situation that we are going to try to denounce here today is you don't have, obviously, a proper infrastructure around you. You don't have access to internet, and therefore everything is complicated. You are disconnected from the world. So thank you for making the huge effort. And I would like to give you actually the moment and the space to introduce yourself a bit more if you wish, and to explain where you are right now. So please, Maung, the floor is yours.
Yes, this is Maung La Min, commonly known as Muhammad Musa, is my Muslim names. So I born on 10th January 2001. So the place where I born in northern part of Maundo in Rakhine States. It's a part of Myanmar. So I grew up in a government employee background family where my dad was a government employee in Myanmar. I am the youngest one in my family. So basically, when I had to flee from Myanmar to Bangladesh, I used to serve for my people, to advocate our people rights. And I start to raise my voice through different angles, like in advocacy, in political campaigns, in the differentiate platforms. I'm doing advocacy, political campaigns, media talks, educational sectors in the camps. So I'm also doing human rights documentations, which used to abuses by the Myanmar military junta and as well as the Rakhine rebel groups.
Thank you very much. And I actually, now that you just explained a little bit more your background, I got a question for you. Has any person from any government try to get in touch with you or with any other refugee to understand your situation? Has anyone from the United Nations Refugee Agency got in touch with you as well to try to support in any kind, any international organization?
Yes, that's a good question. So you're right, and I have a context from the side of Bangladesh, from the side of UN agencies. So just for discussing the situations which is going around the camps and which will be the future of Rohingya peoples in refugee camps. So just it's a just normal context, not much in deeps, not much it's not the relationships like making relationships with any political partnerships, any humanitarian partnership. It just an keep in touch, just keep in touch, and to discuss some issues, and to seek for an emergency supports. Like if we want to do any campaigns, then of course we have to apply for the permissions to the campaigns according to the rules and regulation of Bangladesh. And if the situations get very abnormal in the camps, like cyclones, floodings, and of course I have to informs, and I have to let the UN agencies know what going around the camps. I always try to let them know what we need for such kind of situations. I have a responsibility to let them know what the situation is going in the camps, either it be a natural disaster, or it be for the programs.
Thank you. And another question linked to that, and then we can start talking about more mental health if you wish. We can talk more about what we are discussing now if you wish as well. When you have been in touch with these organizations and they have listened to you, have you felt helped by them? Have you seen responses, factual responses and changes and improvements?
Sometimes I got informants whenever I report, and whenever I let them to know what the happened in the camps, and regarding for the fishes of the peoples. So sometimes got a positive response, and sometimes not. When I didn't respond, when I didn't get any response from them, I just consider that uh, they might not be their limit. So that's my consideration. If I don't get any positive response from them, but sometimes
Right.
good positive response, sometimes good positive response.
Has it ever been the case that you have not heard back at all from them? Like silence completely?
Uh, is- sometimes it happened. Sometimes it happened, but it's not normal.
Is there anything that you think it's falling short when it comes to the international response that you are receiving? And what call would you make, a public call in this regard, in terms of international response, in terms of aid, but also in terms of a conflict resolution program or project or treaty or something that can give you back your land and that can allow you to return to your land?
So my request to the international community or international organizations like UN agencies. So our voice must be heard. We have not having any opportunities to raise our voice internationally, into the international levels. I mean, the victim voice must be heard into the international levels. We suffered a lot. We have been suffering a lot. We suffered a lot, and we have been suffering a lot, and we will be suffering a lot.
Yes,
So
yes,
that
indeed.
our as a victims, as a representative of a victims, our voice must be heard into the international levels, international events, or UN, or even UN.
Yes, of
So
course.
for the moment, we have not any responsibility, any opportunities, or any chance to highlight our crisis into the international levels.
Yes, indeed. And the title is Voices from Myanmar's Refugees and the Role of Mental Health Support. So I completely agree with you. Every person's voice matters. and your voice matters as well. So I wanted to thank you for your account on the situation you're currently living. Do you feel safe? How many people are you surrounded by?
Yeah, I'm living inside the camps, which is called a Camp 14, which is in basically the area where my camp located is called Hakim Farah, Camp 14. So I live with 35,000 peoples in my camps. So and
5,000,
35,000 and
25,000,
35,000.
35. Wow, wow.
35,000, and all the camps are close to another, and I often pay visit to another camp to other camps to see the situation, to know the situation, to talk with the people, to
Mhm.
discuss with the people, to share the suffering to the people, to share the feelings to the peoples. I always pay visit to other scam. Even I regular pay visit to 3 or 2 more camps
Mhm.
daily. It's
And
regular.
ac
It's regular.
and access to food, electricity, how and hygiene. How is life like?
The life is very complicated and very suffered. No electricity, no proper foods, no proper medical facilities, no any pure waters, nothing, no nothing. This is the life, which is the lowest daily life which we expand. It might be lowest of the lowest.
And I'm very sorry that you are going through that. And I have to
You
say,
know,
I
if
myself
you see,
right
if
right
you
now
see,
feel awful, for being where I am because it feels unfair, isn't it? It feels like it's a lottery. Where we are in two different areas in the same world and we are living in two different lives. And it's very hard. Yeah.
there, there's no people who are not suffering with skin diseases, with serious diseases like hepatitis C, like like diabetes, uh,
Yeah. The internet connection is actually breaking. This is part of the issues.
everything. There's no people who are not suffering with skin diseases just because of
He's breaking. It's unfortunately breaking. Let's see if it will come back. Well,
yeah.
we are gonna actually keep going. Yes. Yeah. Um, Mount, do you hear us? Yeah. So while he's trying to reconnect, this is part of the issues, and I'm actually very glad this is happening.
Yes,
What
yes, yes,
perfect,
I do.
perfect, perfect. I'm very glad this is happening because this is the day-to-day they have to experience. He was saying that they don't have access to electricity, they don't have access to food, they don't have access to the basic, they humanitarianly speaking basic elements to survive in this world. And he was just trying to speak, and obviously the internet connection it's breaking. He's not using a router Wi-Fi. He's obviously using his own data and his phone. That's it. So I hope you can still hear us, Mom.
Yes.
But I wanted to know if with the allowed internet that you have, if you are or have been able to read the news and to see how the Western world is actually talking about the Myanmar situation, the conflict there. And the question is, how accurate is this portrayal that you are seeing online? How what additional insights can you provide about the situation from your perspective that you see the Western media is actually skipping either by accident or because they don't have access to that information because they don't speak with as many locals as they should, or because they are purposely omitting information? On you, Mao.
While Western media has played a significant role in bringing attention to the Rohingya crisis, there is a need for more comprehensive and nuanced reporting that consider the historical, political, and the long-term aspects of the situations. So Rohingya people had forcibly tried to cross the border of the Myanmar and Bangladesh via a river which is called Naf River. Many children lose their parents while they cross the border through the boats because it is not allowed to enter to the Bangladesh for the moments, and also some of the people, so nearly thousands people tried to flee to Bangladesh informally because of the situations, because of the daily killings, mass killings. There was attack against them by the artillery shells and the drones. Most of them are women and children. Go lost their lives. And the dead bodies are floating. Dead bodies are found daily on the river, on the side of the Myanmar border and on the side of the Bangladesh border.
Who is giving access to weaponry to the armed forces to use this type of very sophisticated weaponry against civilians? Don't know if you, Diana, would like to actually comment.
Well, the situation right now in Myanmar, in Burma, is very complicated at the moment. I mean, there are hundreds of how to say, a resistance group,
Yes.
plus, and then this major perpetrator, Burmese military. It's like there's an ongoing tension between, and then it's after 2021, I mean, things are more complicated. And then, so I don't know who is supplying these weapons and everything. I have no specific comments, and it's just complicated.
Yes.
And at the moment, maybe the Western media or the media, I think, is having difficulty covering because as Mao Lamien is speaking, he is talking from Bangladesh. In Myanmar, in that region, Rakhine region, there have been no internet or phone calls since few months ago. So I have friends who have been trying to, because I try to help some of them financially, and then they would in one place, I have a brief signal, so I'm letting you know that I'm fine. Those kind of situations are taking place, and then in fact at the moment we are talking, I have no contact with my family back in Kachin for more than a month. So we have no phone, no internet. So I mean, so I no wonder nobody can cover the news. So it's like inside the country, it's so difficult to get information right now. Even I can't talk to my father for so long. I don't know how. So that's the at the moment that kind of information shortage is taking place.
Yes, and I as well believe, of course, there is repression of dissent as well. So if people use Instagram, TikTok, or any, WhatsApp or whatever to record what's happening, they're not going to survive, probably. So
Yeah, even for the internet make for Facebook posts and everything, there is we since the coup we have to use the VPN, the
Mm.
VPN just to
Yes.
access to Facebook. And then lately they were like, okay, there have been checkpoints that trying to check your phone if you are using VPN, because they want to really extremely limit the information flowing on the social media.
Maun, I would like to ask you how all this madness has affected your mental health and your emotional well-being, and yeah, like the people around you as well. How are people feeling around? Is there any sentiment of apathy, hopelessness? What is the day-to-day life when it comes to mental health?
Yes, you know that as a refugee, since 2017, it has been almost 7 years. So the next 25th August will be the 7 years anniversary. People who are living in the camps, they are losing their hopes in search of justice,
Mm.
in search of having returns to their original homelands, just because they are not seeing any international effective steps forward and towards the Rohingya peoples, and the case in ICC, International Criminal Courts, and the International Court of Justice of the Rohingya genocide case has been going on. So from those side, people's before people's believe that we got justice from even mechanisms, international justice mechanisms. So nowadays, people also are losing their hopes, getting justice from the international justice mechanisms, like ICC or ICJ. Some of the experience has
Yeah.
profoundly affected my mentality and emotional, emotionality. So the trauma of violence and displacement, couple loss of our homes and uncertainty of our future, has been overwhelming. I struggle with anxiety and sadness, coping the sense of loss and the harsh realities of refugee lives.
Mhm.
Daily life in the refugee camps is very challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
The conditions are often overcrowded, lacking essential services, even access to healthcare, educations, and adequate sanitation. Of aid organization, we face constant uh, uncertainties and difficulties.
Thank you for sharing how you feel every day. And when you go to sleep every night, what are your thoughts? And how do you sleep? And do you dream? And what do you dream when you are in bed? And when you wake up, what are your first thoughts?
Uh, I am dreaming to have a better day for the future, since a year, uh, after 1 year, after 2 year, after a decades. So we hope we will return to our homes and rebuild our lives and live in peace. So
Mm.
until then, I will continue to fight for our rights and our future.
Well done, well said. Thank you, thank you. This is now going to go for you, Diana, which is related to what he just explained now. So based on his story, could you please discuss the common psychological impacts of such experiences on refugees and displaced persons, and how does prolonged conflict and uncertainty affect mental health?
Mhm. Okay, thank you. I would say for since the coup in 2021, the internally displaced people, I mean, have been like increased intensively. But Myanmar issue has been like I mean so long, taking place so long. We have more than 70, it's like more than 70 decades of civil war. And so imagine this prolonged, humanitarian conflict and issues. And from 2012, in the area I was born, the Kachin, there's a resume war after like 17 years of ceasefire. So since then, there have been increased this displacement within the country. So according to my experience working in the camps, like I especially more work with Kachin IDP camp since 2018, and so like what I've noticed is that like the intense trauma, intense like immediate psychological distress among them, and then but which is manifesting not in terms of mental illness but more in terms of psychosomatic issues, like you were asking Mahami about sleep. In the camps they would not tell that, oh, I have trauma, I am depressed, but they would often say that I can't sleep, I can't sleep, I have intense headache, I can't, yeah, the headache is there all the time. I can't sleep well. It's been for a while. I can't eat well. So those kind of cycle, and then body ache. So psychosomatic symptoms are often expressed, and there have been a lot of grief problems, complex grief of like losing one's property, home, and then also like family, loved ones. And the other prominent issues I have noticed is also this social issue, and then like because they've been living, like he said, they've been living in the IDP camp, this refugee camps for so long. There are a lot of social issues like like gender-based violences, intimate partner violences, because they live in because the camps I have been to are like 10 feet 10 square feet for one family. And then for one family, we don't know, sometimes like it's more than 5 or 7 people in one small room. And then next to each room is like it's just like a 10 square feet of rooms stacking next to each other. So
privacy.
No privacy. So there are a lot of mental health and psychosocial intervention attempting to address the mental health issue, but the problem, it's more than that. Because of this 70 years long conflict, there's always historical trauma and collective trauma. Those kind of things are not really addressed, but like most of the interventions are like focusing on immediate and of course needed support, and needed issues.
Yeah. And of course, if people like Maon, I mean, he's a very strong person who, despite everything, he's actually speaking up, and here he is with us. But not everybody has that strength. People are surviving in a survival mode at the moment. It makes you unable to function and to stand up for your rights, to speak up. People actually do. I understand that people actually get into a state of hopelessness, like Moan he was explaining, where they just wait and see what's their fate going to be like, right?
Rohingya has no right. Rohingya has no right as a human being. If I say identity, it is completely denied. If I say basic health care, it is completely denied. if I say access to civil services, it is completely denied.
I belong to Kachin. They call us Kachin, but in Myanmar, but I belong to Jingpo ethnic. For what is unique about for Kachin, we are recognized as one of the ethnic, or even if we are fleeing from the active war, and but majority of us have the identity card, so we could travel from one place to another. That is what is unique about Rohingya. They don't have this.
Nothing.
They are not recognized.
Yeah.
They are not recognized, and then even if they are even they are recognized formally, but after this, they have this citizenship law since 1984, I think, or I'm not very good with numbers. Since then,
1982.
yeah,
1980.
since then, some of the people who originally have their ID, the ID being confiscated, and then with
Right.
this crisis in 2017, all the IDs and records are being destroyed. So
They
that
were stripped completely from it.
citizenships and other rights. So what is unique is that even if there is two places with intense fighting, Kachin or other ethnic can flee to one place to another town. For Rohingya, they are confined in that certain small village or region like northern Rakhine. They cannot travel from one place, one village to another, one city to another. So that's the uniqueness of like unique attention that we have to give.
Yes.
I am a Christian, and then I am a minority, but I still have this privilege of traveling around, getting easier passport to yes, comparing to the majority. I have I also have several issues as a minority, but this freedom of movement is one thing really
that they don't have. Yeah.
in that group of community.
Many people might be wondering why I chose to have a person from one ethnicity and another person from another ethnicity. But the reality is that you all belong to the same country. It's the fact that people expect ethnicities to be segregated and to not help each other. But the reality is that people like yourself, you just mentioned it now, that you are one of the very few who are lucky to have an identity that is not given to the Rohingya community. And both of you belong to the same country, to the same territory. Therefore, it is important that people like yourself help people like my own as well by speaking up for them. Because yes, it's two different religions, but we are all human beings. We are all the same. So it's as if I was told that I shouldn't be talking about it because I am, that makes no sense. It's about human rights, right? And everybody has obviously to speak up about this, indeed. Yeah. And how do you ensure that trauma healing interventions are sensitive to their unique cultural and personal experiences?
Yeah, it's a very good point. And we have to rely in the IDP camp or camps or refugee camps, we have to rely on the support on the humanitarian agency, which are international organizations. The funding comes from them. And then what happened is that a lot of the activities are dependent upon the donors, dependent upon the funding of the donors and the guideline of the donors. So what happened is that it becomes very how to say
Challenging.
very challenging in terms of time and how we diagnose or how we understand the problem, and then how we develop the intervention. Like it's really challenging. There have been times that they were saying that, okay, you can provide 4 counseling session to how many people, and I was like, it doesn't work that way. In 4 sessions, how can I get to know a person? We don't yes, the evidence-based treatment will work in other countries, but for Myanmar, we have to consider beyond that, and because of this time issue and funding issue, we are not able to do that. It's more like when they say localization or culturally appropriate intervention, that international organization would spend more of their funding on interpreting and international expat, an expert from the other country teaching a tool or teaching this intervention to local, and then they spend more on interpreting it for that person, or they would spend more on translating material from abroad to local language. They call it adaptation. So but like, so I mean, that's a big gap. Like maybe they are expert in that field and they are experts in trauma, but I mean the context, the context and the cultural competency is really missing there. Or a local expert, local practitioner in the eyes of international community, we are not skilled enough. We're not allowed, we're not given that opportunity. So we just copy, paste, translate whatever given. And yeah, that's the real challenge. I like the idea, like what do they need? I think then I really think that we have to start from there. I think they already have ways that they are coping to make them resilient. For example, Golami has gone through all this atrocity, and then since 2017 up to now, and he's still strong. So there must be something that I mean, what is this? Like, for example, like in Kachin, like my community, faith is very important. The first thing they do is they gather together and pray. So even if they are poor, they try to set up a church together. So something like that. I think there must be something, and we have to start from there. That's my idea. Yeah.
And that's an amazing point. And if I may say, because I have a question here that will go for my own, but I will link it to what you just said now. So I'm going to start with a question that comes from you. Maun, what do you think you have done differently to be this resilient and to be here with us today, able to speak? There is a lot of strength within you that you might not be able to explain. But is there anything that you are able to explain in relation to your strength and your ability to be here with us, advocating for the rights of your community? What is that? What do you think you have done differently to feel strong despite everything that you have been experiencing, and to be a support for the community around you? Other people could learn from.
Okay, and my elder brothers, even though if I have nothing to eat in my dinner, I tried to be strong in front of my fellow brothers and sisters. Many others not like me. They becomes more. Many of them becomes psychologically disorder, and many of became losing hopes. So I try to be strong in front of them. Even they sometimes consider that he lost his father, he lost his mother, he lost his brother-in-law. How could he be strong himself? And of course, they got inspiration and motivation from me.
Have you been helped at all by any organization?
So I saw some support from the international NGOs who are providing some support to the most affected figures. But this is limited.
Right.
This is limited. So it is it is important for the individuals of the refugee community. But the access and is very limited, what I have seen.
What kind of support, apart from all that we've been saying, do you think specific support, mental health support, do you think the community is most needed of? What sort of support would you say?
Counseling, empowerment, counseling,
Empowerment.
to repair, to rebuild their lives, and help them to forget.
Diana, do you want to add anything? This is really good, actually, what he's saying.
Yeah, I think I really like what he has highlighted about empowerment, and then
Beautiful.
also like to this like to listen, to listen not just with the the ears, but with the heart. Humanitarian actors can start from that. They can, if they actually listen, if they connect with the people rather than like infantilizing that, okay, you are given this and that. I think they can start from that. So whenever I train the people, that's the thing I always stress, because there are medical doctors and nurses I used to train. They were saying that the people are complaining about headache and sleep problem, so we just give them the medication and they get coming back with the same symptom. We don't have time to listen. I said, like, if you want to improve, try differently, and then some of them actually try to listen, and then they come back. What you said is true. We try to listen, give more extra time, like at least formerly in the past we gave only 5 minutes, and then now we give like 10 more minutes extra time, and they were like happy, and they don't come back again with headache. They said, my headache is gone. So I mean, you don't need to set up a counseling set, office or big, new activity, but humanitarian actors can integrate all this care, dignity affirming actions in their activity, and also this humanitarian actors, they can start from taking care of themselves, because a lot of them suffer from vicarious trauma and burnout, and which cause them to not connect with the people they work with, they provide service with, which make them more complicated. I think maybe we have trauma, but we have trauma in the IDP camp. Maybe some of this trauma are induced by the humanitarian activity, rather than or make them worse, because of the way they are treated. So
that's such an important point, actually.
yeah,
Yes.
and then I don't know. I mean, like study about the culture and study about how they try to take care of themselves, how the people are taking care of their own mental health. I mean, Golam is a great example of being a good mentor. People look up to you, look up to them, and then how can we support these mentors to have more mentors to for the other young people?
And I really found very beautiful that statement that you made about what sort of support you need, and it's empowerment. Just tell me, what do you think can be learned to improve mental health support in conflict zones, generally speaking?
Instead of learning new skills for counseling, but why don't we integrate and learn how to relate with the people we work with, and really to take care of their own health, and then connect.
Now we are almost getting there. The next question will be for Mon. So how does it feel to see the international community's response, or lack thereof, to the plight of the Rohingya people? How does this affect your sense of justice and mental well-being? Do you see, and do you think there is no enough response from the international community, and how is this affecting you personally?
Seeing the international community response to the plight of the Rohingya peoples is completely missed. On one end, there's some support through humanitarian aid and advocacy. On the other hand, the response often feels insufficient given the scales of this crisis. This disparity impacts my sense of justice and mental well-being by fostering feelings of frustrations and disillusionment. It reinforces the perceptions of that our suffering is not being fully acknowledged or addressed,
Mhm.
which exacerbates the emotional toll of our situations.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. This session, this podcast that we are using, it's a call for the international community to understand that there are people on the other side of the world, which are not too far, really. People like Maun who are suffering because there is not enough response. It's unbelievable, really, that we have an international court of justice, an international criminal court that have said that what is happening in Myanmar is a genocide, and still we don't see any real action. We don't see any sort of intervention. I think it's time for things to change because these people like my own, they have the right to live decently and to have, um, a normal life like everybody else. Thank you for that. And that actually will lead us to um, the next question that is for Diana. How can mental health professionals help refugees and displaced persons like Maon cope with feelings of abandonment by the international community?
I have to say one controversial thing. First, I think the feeling of abandonment sometimes is really induced upon the refugees by the humanitarian organizations and media. How they frame the story, how they highlight the story. And yeah, how they portray these people in trying to gain funding, or I don't know, to get attention. I think I mean there are so many ways to make the story heard, but the story of the people being heard
without affecting their dignity.
Yeah, without affecting their dignity. You know, I had heartbreaks. You know, the in one when they are portraying about the sexually assaulted victims in the media. I mean, they were like in the camp in Cox's Bazar, and they were like just giving the mic to the girls and can you tell about this? I find it maybe it raised awareness, but is it really helping the victims? Yeah, doing that kind of thing, and then when we don't get attention, then we feel abandoned because we are vulnerable. No, we show our vulnerability, how much we suffer. We tell everything in front of everyone, and nobody is really responding. Of course, I feel offended. I feel abandoned. Nobody's helping. I think we have to find, like mental health professionals, we have to find more ways to make this voice heard. Like I don't know. We have to find
better ways,
different channels, different ways, just to like showing our miserable pictures on the media and everything. We really need to advocate for non-infantilization, non-instrumentalization, non-humiliation,
Rectification.
rather than stressing on this counseling tools and skills and everything. Yeah, it's good, but it needs to be addressed with this dignity affirming way of relating with other people.
Thank you both for your great insights. Has been an amazing dialogue, and I'm so pleased and so grateful to have you both here. Two different perspectives, and they complement it so well. And I hope really this is going to raise awareness. Before we go, I want to talk very briefly about Mon. As I said at the very beginning, he works with the Rohingya aid and empowerment network. And
Yeah.
his work exemplifies his commitment to advocating for his community. He's currently seeking new employment opportunities. I found him on LinkedIn. He has a very open to work logo on his profile, which I would like, and I would like really to make a call for anyone watching this podcast to please reach out to him. He's currently seeking new employment, and with the growth of remote work, it's very easy to give someone jobs. So we encourage every company and organization to support Mom and any other refugee in their integration and contribution to society. This is exactly what we've been discussing, and maybe this is another way to help them feel empowered as well. So thank you both. Thank you so much for your contributions today. And I wish you, Mom, all the very, very best. And we are here for you. We're not that far anymore. So just stay safe. Please keep us posted. And yeah.
Thank you very much too
Thank you.
for highlighting our voices. We are grateful. We are grateful for your efforts.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to help you. It's the least I can do. We can do.